Welcome back to my channel, Famous and Fabulous. Millan Cesaris, an extremely well-known dog trainer who millions of people who own pets adore and admire as well. Just now, something startling occurred, following the conclusion of his court trial. That's frightening. The moment captured everyone's interest away, confusing folks on the internet and posing numerous queries. What actually occurred? What made someone like Cesar, whoever is in charge, ends up in this mess? Let's discover what actually occurred in this narrative with the entire planet conversing. Cesar Millan made use of to gain international fame for training canines. However, something startling occurred immediately following his trial. Individuals always recognized him for his ability to maintain total control when he was in court. However, that photo of him abruptly fell separate. When they revealed what the judge determined that he had lost his composure because he was well known for all these years. What transpired next made everyone aghast. Tense hand gestures, abrupt activities, and security personnel had to hurry in and assist in transforming that moment into something that the news media wanted to discuss royally. For nearly 2 decades, Cesar Millan created a massive global business founded on teaching canines in methods that concentrate on taking charge and being rigid. His television programs can be seen in moreover 80 nations. His books have been sold, copies in the millions, and when they hear his name, they picture someone who is, when working with dogs, remain composed and steady. However, Ashantis discovered more about how, when animals behaved, people were more concerned about protecting animals. Additionally, and more intelligent individuals began to worry. Methods of instruction that people previously believed worked effectively are now receiving criticism, with claims that they are able to create animals frightened, anxious, or even harmed them. The court case wasn't merely the result of nowhere, but instead resulted from years of persons arguing with each other. Items deteriorated significantly. Following a video from his training video went viral, demonstrating the moment an animal was harmed during instruction. People were moved by that scene. Crazy, causing a large flood of inquiries on whether Millan's method was it correct or wrong. Then come a number of accounts from individuals vows to collaborate with him, providing specific tales of incidents involving injuries to pets due to the abundance of evidence throughout training. They appeared in court. The judgment was obviously intended to penalize him. You can't collaborate with Cesar Millan. Animals once more, and the training facility where he to shut down after starting. Furthermore, he had to give large sums of money to organizations that save animals and take extremely difficult classes to learn new job regulations in this region. Above all, the judge forced him to state in public that several of his actions weren't acceptable by the science of today is king. The terrifying events that took place in the Millan's furious outburst and the trial did not only startled news reporters, but also caused a debate among pet owners about a lot. The image of him walking out of the courthouse, surrounded by security personnel, he swiftly went viral on social media, turning into a representation of how a legend in the world of animal training collapsed. Outside, the courthouse was plainly seen. There were 2 groups of people. On one side were irate demonstrators, with indications calling for the cessation of training methods. They believed they were too cruel. Conversely, side were the silent expressions of those who backed him up for a while. Numerous, they were unable to conceal their sadness as they recalled his work with dogs that encountered issues or were abandoned. The scenario made it very evident how divided people are. Were concerning a former honoree as a representation of transformation and hope, and how pets and people get along. Cesar Millan has had an insane adventure. He began in poverty, Mexico's Culiacan countryside he had a big dream and just $100 in his pocket. He entered the United States through the border states at the age of 21. He carried with him the aspiration to become the world's greatest dog trainer. The difficult early years of hardship in Los Angeles, from cleaning automobiles to providing, he didn't give up because of pets. It was his perseverance and his aptitude that enabled him to gradually increase his reputation, turning into a well-known individual all worldwide in the training of animals. With a television program that aired in over 80 nations and books that sold a lot, indeed, he was not just respected but also regarded as an inspiration and was a trailblazer. However, the route to that incredible achievement is also where the issues that were unresolvable began. Dogs weren't important to Cesar Millan, simply a means of being well known, but also a cause for living, something that kept him alive in his chaotic existence. However, over time, that strong bond became the first point for issues. In 2010, his private life became struck quite hard when his 16-year-old wife years requested a divorce, which left him void in his heart as well as with his cash. In the same year, his closest, the primary component of his training is Pitbull. Concepts, passed away from a serious illness. The pair's successive losses, which pushed him into a severe emergency, which occasionally struck him with a sense of complete despair. Out of the way, from the spotlight, a man's image who remained composed, self-assured, and in total command of everything gradually become feeble. As said by those who've collaborated with him, he usually holds. Moving on to the job title of Dog Whisperer. The quality must be flawless. Maintaining his image as a professional wasn't only a task he needed to complete for work, but also the final obstacle preventing him from during a period when his private life was disintegrating. Although he returned later on in his career, those who knew him claimed that the intense pain never truly got better. He was easily agitated by criticism, particularly in relation to claims that his training techniques that he adhered to failed. The accumulated tension appeared to reach its worst moment during one of his show's episodes, become the subject of debate. A footage showing a dog assaulting another animal made people during a training session really irate on social media and began a thorough inquiry by organizations that safeguard the welfare of animals. Although no one was billed for that particular item that took place, the public's ire resulted in additional charges. One family stated the French bulldog displayed signs of anxiety following a tough training session at this middle. Another claimed that their dog received injured at Milan's behavior training location. Testimonies from those who once worked there further exacerbated the problem. Complex. The dramatic thing, some say, was more crucial than preserving the safe for animals. Training can occasionally, circumstances were arranged to be dramatic on TV that has been altered to make the impact appear less severe. By means of expert investigation, numerous specialists in animal behavior have noted that anxiety and concern reactions were interpreted as indications of giving up and posing important queries regarding whether the training approach is displayed to the public was truthful. The attorneys were attempting to establish that he was guilty made a compelling point. Millan's methods are contrasted with contemporary scientific investigation. Individuals from animal rights organizations and universities have expressed opposition to the strategy based on putting animals down and referring to it as nasty and outdated. This was it. Consensus among specialists that turned become the factor that contributed to the termination of a career formerly regarded as a symbol that was unchangeable in the realm of training pets. New findings on the thoughts and emotions of dogs have significantly altered how people approach to instruction. The outdated notion that dogs are constantly vying for dominance over people and must be managed by their position within the pack is turning into out of date. Leading authorities on animal behavior assert that training techniques founded on dominance theory isn't simply ineffective. However, it can also leave dogs in a condition of ongoing anxiety and tension, which then makes human behavior worse trying to fix. All throughout the court actions, Cesar Millan continued the picture of a man who had faith in his thoughts, consistently stating that the charges were misinterpretations and discrimination from those who didn't truly comprehend what he did. However, as several pieces of evidence emerged, including footage of contentious training sessions, to testimonies from independent sources and owners specialists, the sturdy image he once continued to disintegrate. The majority of crucially, the video makes it abundantly evident that The dog's terror during the people were perplexed by the training process, causing uncertainty over their efficiency and compassion of the topic. He used thuds. Following the negative events that occurred during the trial, Millan abruptly ceased all media-related activity. All demands for interviews were turned down, and other unverified rumors claimed that he returned to Mexico for a while in order to steer clear of the spotlight. In the meantime, Hissens, who were supposed to succeed the legacy of their father, only released a brief statement requesting consideration for the privacy of the family during this difficult period. The effects of what transpired were widespread and extensive, impacting not just him individually, but also building a solid wave of transformation in the dog training sector. Numerous facilities that had Millan's tactics were swiftly modified, their instructional guidelines and resources utterly eliminating the notions of supremacy or leadership of the pack. Instructors, including those who formerly followed Millan's fashion, is currently centered on methods that depend on constructive human reinforcement and trust and their animals, instead of producing situations that are demanding or stressful. Additionally, professional associations are utilizing this opportunity to assist the public consciousness. A revised declaration from the American Association of Veterinary Medicine has stated that it supports humane training methods while cautioning about the possible negative effects of techniques that put strain on animals. The need for new access to and understanding of dog behavior has gone through the roof. Not only expert trainers, but moreover people in P-Town are hurrying to register for courses to study contemporary science-based instruction and care. 4 organizations dedicated to animal welfare. This is a fantastic opportunity to increase their influence and instruct the populace. Some people have indicated that the startling incident has introduced the principles of compassionate training. It had been difficult to propagate to the public to receive more attention and approval. Although this modification was brought about by a contentious event, what matters most is that the dogs, these topics at the heart of the discussion, will gain the most in the end. Even the television industry has made a choice. Quickly, producers have switched to fresh training courses that concentrate solely on constructive methods and shrewdly compare the discrepancies, contrasting the new strategy with what was popular on television in the past. Streaming services have simultaneously. Millan-related content was deleted over time, swapping them out with modern dog, brain science documentaries, ASS, well as contemporary training. Techniques that are regarded as both efficient and kind of the animal's emotions. Concerning the dogs that have participated in the contentious training sessions, several have now been subjected to conduct professionals in rehabilitation. By way of careful, scientific, and considerate techniques, the dogs have gradually returned stability of the mind and the capacity to engage in constructive human interaction. Videos documenting their recuperation experiences have gone viral on social media. A definite evidence of the effectiveness of compassion and knowledge in creating a healthy human-pet connections. No coercion is necessary, only love and the correct understanding. The training of Cesar Millan style, which previously caused a stir around the world, was hailed as a phenomenon of culture, gaining millions of fans with his charisma and command of the most challenging canines. However, after being a party to a contentious lawsuit, criticism started to circulate, particularly from specialists in animal behavior. Numerous people who I used to admire him, but now I wonder if his methods are safe and suitable. Although some people still think Millan may have been altered and carried on with Motivate by using constructive training components into his strategies, numerous people observe him as a reminder of a bygone training era when authority was more crucial than comprehension. Numerous professionals who have said he followed Millan's training facility had a significant edge if he agreed. His rapport with viewers, his dynamic presentation abilities, as well as his vast reach, any of which could have been employed to promote humane approaches based on science. However, rather than modifying his strategy to take into account the continuing upward trend, Millan kept defend his contentious methods in spite of mounting criticism. These decisions were depressing to men. He might have been a bridge connecting a large audience with contemporary training techniques had he been open to change. The lawsuit is not simply brought an end to a magnificent chapter in his own profession, but additionally provided aggregator discussion over the formation of humanity connections with their animals. On the internet, conversations about cooperative training grew in popularity. Dog owners started to find out more about non-violent techniques, encouraging the creation of comprehensive training resources and pleasant instruction sessions. The need for learning has increased dramatically, resulting in a surge in book sales, encouragement, and an increase in those enrolling in behavior classes. More significantly, the event has prompted a review of out-of-date concepts that were formerly thought to be the basis of instruction, particularly the notion of pack leadership. The concept that people must demonstrate their power over obtaining obedience from dogs is being replaced by methods founded on mutual trust and courtesy. According to studies, the brains of animals, this change is more than just a technical shift, but also an advancement in social thinking from dominance to collaboration, from compelled to comprehension. Millan, formerly known as the current time frame for the dog whisperer, is difficult. What initially made him well known is currently the subject of debate. As the community of scientists and veterinarians keep highlighting the risks associated with the dominating strategy, Millan's prospects grows more ambiguous. Whether he is able to adjust and participate in the change or maintain adherence to his previous views are still pending. But it is evident that the industry's change has occurred. Not a fad anymore, but amability with a solid foundation. The tale of Millan is no longer just a celebrity's narrative rise and fall, as well as a representation of a turning point in the training of dogs. As more and more people avoid using forceful techniques, the history of power and authority is gradually disappearing into the shadows. Additionally, it can be implementing the community to reconsider what used to rejoiced. Millan's most profound effect has been one that he did not intend to do so, but one that has proven crucial in altering the manner people care for their most devoted pets. How do you feel about what transpired with Millan Cesar? Was his courtroom response the outcome of excessive pressure? Or did it represent ingrained convictions that are they difficult to shake? More significantly, has this situation caused you to reevaluate the way we get to know and comprehend our four-legged pals? Post your comments with your ideas below, and remember to sign up for the channel to find more illuminating and compassionate viewpoints on the animal.